What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Prairie podcast. We know it's been a while, but trade deadline is approaching, so sit back, buckle up. It's going to be a fun episode, lots to talk about. I'm going to kick it over to Jackson because I know we've been already talking a little bit before we started this up. There's some emotions flowing. People are ready to talk. How you feeling going into this deadline? It looks like it's going to be a busy one.
Yeah, no, the Jets are gonna be, in my opinion, top three busiest teams, if not the busiest. They do need to go out, grab a big fish to be a serious contender, and then they got to look at the rest of their bottom six in the forwards and kind of, decide what they want to do there. Obviously, there's been some names like Max Domi, Nick Ritchie in the past couple weeks that have been linked to the Jets, as well as some other guys that I'm sure we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. But yeah, the Jets are going to be busy, and I think they have to be.
Absolutely.
hmm Yeah, no, for sure. I think the Jets have to be busy, and I think the Jets need to be aware of what the market is on players. I think today was a very good set. I want to say, like, a very good trend setting type play. Obviously, Tarasenko was moved to the Rangers tonight. So, with that in mind, we kind of have an idea of what the market value is for things. And I feel like that's definitely going to move stuff forward. Like, obviously, we've already seen Horvat and Tarasenko off people's boards. Teams are beginning to either take deals on other players or are almost doubling down on the Timo Meyer sweepstakes, which is what I feel like we can call it at this rate. Um, Obviously, the Jets want to be in on that, but they also need to know what the value is in giving up for that type of an asset, and it's definitely going to be high.
No, the whole situation this year is like I feel like it's high risk, high reward. Like if the management and ownership really does believe in this team, like the fans do, and like it seems like the players are how much the players have bought, and everything that's gone on this year with the season. If this is the year that you think you should be going all in, and I think it is, I think we all are in agreement on that. Then it is high risk, high reward because you could be screw yourselves in the future long term potentially. Like I know Chevy is not going to go out there and trade every asset this team has. That's just not who he is. It's not in his nature. That would be the most shocking thing I would have ever probably see the Jets ever in their history if that were to happen. Honestly, like when you really think about it. So that's not what I'm worried about. I think that what they should be doing is just focusing on winning the cup when it comes down to it. Like I really think that no matter where this conversation takes us, ladies and gentlemen, for this episode, I think that go for the cup no matter what. If it's going to cost you a Chaz Lucius, yeah, that sucks. He'd look great in a Jets uniform potentially, but I would rather have a parade ceremony down in Portage in Maine in the summer with a Stanley Cup there than have to worry
Mm-hmm.
about Chaz Lucius in 2 years playing for the Winnipeg Jets.
What?
It's just how it is. It needs to be that way with the window. So get ready because you're probably going to hear some trade proposals that you might disagree with. But yeah, I want to talk about real quick. I want to talk about Timo Meyer. I just want to get it out there. Off the top of your head, what's your trade proposal? I'm gonna throw it to Zach.
Oh fuck.
Come on, no, don't think too hard about it. Come on, like I'm
Okay,
curious.
so trade proposal, first round picked, first round pick in next year's draft. Ville Heinola, Jansen Harkins. Oh, and I feel like you got to add one more piece from that, and probably Chaz Lucius.
I think Chaz Lucius is the forward that's gonna be moved.
Yeah, because I feel like also too. I feel like this not to go too in depth, but I feel like this organization also thinks that he's a bit of a flight risk in terms of injury prone. So that's a good fallback on being able to be okay with moving on from a guy like that.
And it's not like Brad Lambert isn't tearing it up right now in the WHL either. He's been playing very good
Mm-hmm.
hockey, which is very very nice to see as well. So yeah, the Jets do have some forward options that are still coming up in these years that they can, if the other guys are expendable, they're going to get the opportunity. But yeah, Jackson, what about you? What's your trade proposal?
So, okay, I really don't think that it's gonna be that outlandish of a deal as a lot of people think it is. Like maybe with the bidding war, because obviously there are other teams getting in here. I'm sure, like New Jersey, Carolina, even Vegas. I'm not sure what assets Vegas has left to trade
Exactly.
to acquire a guy like Timo Meyer, because they've been doing that kind of big trade thing, and it really hasn't necessarily worked out for them the way that they've maybe overdone it. But I was watching Winnipeg Sports Talk the other day, and they had the guy from ESPN. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he went on there and he said it's going to be very similar to the Bo Horvat trade, maybe a little bit extra, but not too much more. It's going to be a prospect, a first, and maybe a young player in there. I kind of like the idea of a first round pick, Chaz Lucius, or even a Brad Lambert. If that pushes the needle that much more, I'm totally down. If it's acquiring a Timo Meyer, and then you have to think, okay, how do the Sharks value a guy like Logan Stanley, and then how do a team like the Sharks value a Ville Heinola? No, because and that sounds so stupid as Jets fans to be like, oh well, why would they want Stanley? Tall. You've seen what he does. Rick Bowness said it himself. His size gets him in the lineup. So if GMs like the size, and a lot of teams out there do, then you have to consider that. But if Logan Stanley, a first round pick, and a guy like Chaz Lucius or Brad Lambert gets it done, you have to make that deal. If that's all, in my opinion, you stole Timo Meyer.
I agree. And I was actually going to talk about Logan Stanley because I think there's actually a fit out here on the West Coast that I think is the team that they should be looking to offload Stanley to. The Vancouver Canucks, Mr. Rick Tocchet. I think I see a man that fits your radar quite nicely. Take him from us, please. But no, we'll be talking about that in a little bit. But I agree with Jackson. My trade proposal is first round pick in next year's draft. Chaz Lucius. Brad Lambert for me is kind of the one guy I would consider untouchable. I would rather move a Rutger McGroarty before moving a guy like Brad Lambert. But still, just my opinion. So I would go with first round pick Chaz Lucius, and then I'm honestly giving up Ville Heinola because I love Ville Heinola, but I think that the Sharks value what Heinola is. I think especially Carlson could see the value in that and getting him into the lineup with the way that their defense is structured. I think he'll thrive in it, even in a bad team that like San Jose is. So I think that he would be really fit in well there, and he's looking for opportunity. Sharks are a team full of opportunity right now, so I think Ville Heinola could be a really interesting player for the Sharks in that regard. So I think a first Ville Heinola and Chaz Lucius, I think is really close to getting it done. Maybe you have to throw in a Logan Stanley, or you throw in a conditional fourth round or third round pick or something like that just to move the needle because of the bidding war. But
I'm gonna jump in here for a minute. I don't care what you have to do, just get it done. As long as you aren't making a ridiculous, like otherworldly, like you're trading like Heinola, Lucius, McGroarty, Lambert, like
that might
unless
be
it's
what
something
it comes
ridiculous.
To. Like,
I don't think
like
no. I don't think it
Depends
gets that
how the rest
high.
of it
I really
goes.
don't. I think if the Jets offer up, if they would be willing to offer up a Lucius and a Heinola with the first, I think they're in first or tied for first.
Right.
I really do. I really don't think he's going to go for as much as we think he is.
Well, I think that right there, honestly, is the perfect trade. Like, when you look at what the Sharks need, you look at the players they're trying to bring in, I think that not a lot of teams can match that prospect value when you really think about it with guys that are that close to being NHL ready. Lucius is at least 2 years away, maybe a year and a half, if that, with injuries and how he heals and how his game develops with the injuries. But Ville Heinola and Lucius should be enough with a first. So Chevy, pull the trigger. I really do agree, Jackson. What's another guy that you guys want to?
Sorry, just really quick before we
don't apologize. Cut me off and go for it. It's that time of year. You have to say it.
This has to be the move, so I'm gonna double down on it right now. Like you can say, oh, it's too much, oh, you're risking the future, but like Lucius has been hurt every single year and has played very little hockey. And the hockey that he's played as of late, obviously, has been fantastic. Bronze medal winner at the World Juniors, and then tearing it up in the few games that he played in the WHL, was WHL Player of the Week. But is he going to be a healthy top six player in the future? We don't know. We know what Timo Meyer is. He's young. If the Jets are able to sign him, or even just keep him for 1 year on an RFA deal, going into next year, staying competitive for next year, I think is totally worth it, and I don't think that's unreasonable. But okay, anyway, I'll stop talking about it.
No, you are right though. You got to get that out there because it really comes down to what I said at the start of this video. If you want to really see a cup in Winnipeg, you need to go all in this year because the Jets have holes. It's very, very evident. We know that. We've seen it with injuries this year. Guys have stepped up, but the scoring has been an issue. It's just defense at times. The way that everything's bought in, they need to add. And I say go for it. But, talking about adding still. Ooh,
Even Miles do not grow on trees, I have to say.
No, they don't.
He's the type of guy who has been able to work his way through a San Jose Sharks hierarchy from his earlier years to the point where he's a star on the San Jose Sharks, having a good season on a horrible team. Horrible team.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it's shocking now because even at the beginning of the year, people have known that it's coming up. Like, the entire year. No one talked about it at the beginning of the year because they were just like, oh, yeah, maybe he'll have a good year. Well, let's see if Carlson's being able to be moved. Now, he's the top man to be moved and is going to demand a lot on the market.
No, without a doubt. I talking about still adding talent, like you said, Jackson, we've been tied to depth forwards as well, guys for like that third line spot to fit down there with Adam Lowry and probably Mason Appleton when he comes back from injury. With Max Domi, Nick Ritchie. And then also, I saw today, Elliot Friedman was on Jeff Merrick's show, his podcast, and they were actually brought up the fact that the Jets could have a lot of interest in JVR, James Van Riemsdyk from Philadelphia as well. Definitely, it would be really interested in him coming over, especially if it's, again, the asking price of around a third-round pick. I think that's definitely worth it. And it seems to be that's kind of what the asking price is for all three of those guys, in Domi, Ritchie, and JVR, is about a third-round pick. And I think that if that's what the going rate is for a good depth forward that can score you goals, go out there and get two of them. I definitely think so, especially when you consider the fact that you gave up 2 second-round picks from Brendan Dillon. Like, if that's where you thought your value was in that, and you're not willing to go out now and trade some picks for some good forwards that are available at a pretty loaded deadline, then you got to get your head checked. But I think they really have to deal with that route. And I think that, like, for me, it's Domi, probably JVR, then Ritchie, I think would be out of those three, that the order of what I would want. I'm just curious for you guys as well if that would be the same.
In that order?
I agree.
Yeah, in that order, from like 1 down through who would want for most.
And then do you put Jonathan Taves after Nick Ritchie?
Yeah, I do. I don't want Jonathan Taves. You know what? Let's talk. You know what?
There's a few more guys I put below.
Exactly. Let's talk about it. Why I don't want Jonathan Taves on this team. I don't think he's the answer to any of our problems. I don't think he's going to make this team any better. And I don't think it's worth bringing in a slow old man. I love Jonathan Taves as the Winnipegger that brought the cup here and has all that, the community center named after him, and it's a great thing, blah, blah, blah. But you gotta, if he's not the answer to our problems. Even Max Domi is a much better option for Chicago. Don't get both of them, just focus on one.
I'll say this. With Jonathan Taves, if he didn't have such a massive fucking cap hit, to the point where trading for him makes it your only move, practically, of the trade deadline, I would be content with taking him along for the fucking ride.
Me too, but
so much fucking
But I also have to point out I also have to quickly point out, if we're talking money, that JVR is also making $7 million this year.
Yes, he is.
So that's a big contract, even with cap retained.
I wanted to talk about this because the Jonathan Taves deal currently, he is an Arizona Coyote or Anaheim Duck, and then he's gonna get flipped at in a 3-way deal at 50%. Because there's no way, like, who can fit $5 million contract right now for Jonathan Taves? It's not gonna happen.
Only Winnipeg.
But my worry,
we're the only team that could.
Sure.
Which is scary. Actually, please don't do it.
That's tempting fate. Like, you're putting sugar next to.
You have to say it, man.
Right.
It's the only.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. And the reason it's not gonna happen isn't even. It's because the cap's stupid, right? The cap's been stuck now for a while, and we all know it's a cap. Everybody's in cap hell. The Jets do have some cap space, and I don't think that Chevy's looking at that, especially Kevin Cheveldayoff. Kevin Cheveldayoff, who was on the Blackhawks in 2010. If you live under a rock, you can go look up that Stanley Cup team and who was there, and draw the connections there. But I don't think that Kevin Cheveldayoff wants the PR piece, and just all the Winnipeg Sun reports on him. And just wait. Even if you get him at $2.5 million, because he makes $10 million, you cut that in half, and then cut it in half again. $2.5 million for actions. if you have Jonathan Taves for that much, you have to pay whoever the third-party broker is a fourth. And then do the Hawks want a third or do they want a second? If it's a second and you're dishing out a fourth, when
Not
you can
worth
have
it.
Max Domi for a third and Jansen Harkins, come on.
Exactly. No, he don't need to say anything else about that. He killed it. Like, it's just not worth it. It's
Also-
stupid. It's plain as day.
Also, it's worth noting, Max Domi was born in fucking Winnipeg. Why
Sure
is
was.
no one mentioning this on
Dude.
their bullshit tirade about needing a homegrown Winnipeg boy?
Homegrown, dude. His dad's as Winnipeg as it comes when you think about Jets 1.0 heritage, man. Fucking
Like,
Ty
what the
Domi, man.
fucking fuck? Like,
It makes so much sense to bring him in. The whole alumni.
so
You know how
dumb.
True North is with their alumni, man. They get Ty Domi in, man. Maybe Ty Domi and True North, they can repair the relationship, get him in the Hall of
Bro,
Fame, alumni, and all
no,
that.
no.
Next thing you know, you got Ty Domi's fucking name up there because that's how the Jets
I
are
was
gonna
about
start doing
to say
things.
you're gonna have two banners up there, father son
I was gonna
father
say,
son night.
Like, what are you doing? Like,
Oh,
the
that'd be
Jets are
hilarious, actually. Can you imagine?
That's on a heater for acquiring former Winnipeggers Adam Brooks, Cody Eakin. There's a precedent for this.
Dude,
But
it is.
okay,
though.
one thing to mention though that I do want to say about that, the Jets really haven't made a point of acquiring homegrown talent like from Winnipeg. They passed on, of course,
They pass
Connor Geeky.
Sure. Like
Sorry?
they pass on a Winnipeg-born player every.
Yeah,
fucking
and
draft.
I'm happy they do, because they're ranked way too high. Connor Geeky went to Arizona. Connor Geeky's fine, but I don't think he's going to be much better than what Kirby Doc is. And then you've got what was that defenseman that
Lambos.
the Wild drafted? Sorry.
Oh,
Carson Lambos, and then also
Yeah.
I like Carson Lambos though.
The other one that people mentioned is Seth Jarvis.
All
but
the
I-
Ice fans are coming for you, Jackson.
Like, okay, they're fine players, but would I rather Seth Jarvis or would I rather Cole Perfetti? I'm taking Cole Perfetti
No,
every
I'm
day.
taking Cole Perfetti
Yes.
too. Cole Perfetti he's going to be one of those prospects that's going to be good but not a star, and then all of a sudden he's just going to explode. He's going to take a little bit. You can just tell by the way he plays, and I can't wait to watch that growth happen. He's going
Matt
to be so
Cook.
damn good.
absolutely cooking a beautiful stew on the ice.
He is. He is.
Mhm.
Fucking
Jeff
slow and,
Fence, beautiful.
low and slow. But man, like it's exciting to think about this. Like it's been so long since the Jets have been buyers like this potentially. Like you think back in the Jets' history, they've had we've been buyers at times, man. But it's like one trade type thing. You know, you wait for it, or we're sellers and we're moving out guys that we don't want to move out. You know,
Firedale.
or we're like last
Mhm.
year where we decide to be both. Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah. Come on down. Like, okay, so this is the other thing that we talked about this a little bit before we started the call. Prediction for number of trades that are made by the Jets. So I believe there is a limit. I could be wrong, but I believe the limit is like, is there
There's
no
no
limit,
limit.
or
There's
is
no
it just
limit.
timing?
It's timing.
Okay.
Do everything you can.
The most that the Jets, I believe, have done in one trade deadline was in 2018-19, and I believe they did 6 or 7. And
Six trades in 2019, really? Oh yes, yes.
Mhm.
they had, it was
A lot of
Hayes,
moose moves, random moose moves.
Hayes,
Mhm.
Lindholm, Kislevic, Hendricks, and then there's 2 others that I cannot fucking remember for the life of me. But
Mhm.
there was
Sure.
so many. How
You
many
know what?
trades?
We're going to Google, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Cap friendly Winnipeg Jets trade history.
Okay. Yeah, no, but how many trades are the Jets making at this trade deadline? Like the number.
Okay, Jackson, you go. I'm pulling up the information.
I'm gonna say the Jets make. I'm gonna stick firm at 5, because I think they go out, whether it's Timo Meyer or another name that's maybe not on the block. We've seen Chevy do this in the past, where kind of brings in a guy like Paul Stastny who didn't really know he was available, right? I can see something like that for the top 6. I think they add a 3C, and I really do think it's Max Domi. I think they add a winger, depth defenseman, and maybe a 4th line forward.
I'm saying I think 4, but like I almost think if there's a 5th one, I don't think it's the way I wouldn't go the route that you went, but I'd say The fifth one is so fucking inconsequential. Like last year, we had all those trades, and then at the end, oh yeah, by the way, Nelson Nogier got traded. All right.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Way to go, Chevy! Traded for Marcus Phillips.
Jimmy O'Ligny.
And
Jimmy
then
O'Ligny moved.
Yeah, the legend. Yeah, no, there's one trade in there. I'm saying 4, 5 if you count a fucking Moose trade to propel their hopes for a Calder Cup because the Jets are so fucking weird. I think you get the forward that you're like the main forward that you're after, whatever, like from the one that we talk about. You get 2 depth pieces and possibly a depth defenseman to have on reserve. That's the way it goes. And then a bullshit does this even count trade.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be as crazy as that. I'm going to say they're going to make 3 really impactful trades. I think Chevy's going to go out there, and I think it's not going to be the volume of trades, but the prestige of the players that we're getting. I think Chevy's going to actually go out this year and not, settle for, second best. I think he wants to really make this team the best that the version they can be. So I expect to see a Max Domi. Jackson, I agree with you. I almost think that's 100% given. I think that if there's any team that would really want a Max Domi, based on the history of acquiring players with ties to the Forge organization already, Winnipeg probably does it the most out of any other team out there in the league. So just there's lots of strings like that make sense. But I think Max Domi is the guy they go for. So I think they go for 2 depth forwards, and then it's either or of either one depth. They're going to be depth players. I think it's probably going to be a forward and a defenseman, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of the a pair of forwards or a pair of defensemen potentially. It just depends on what's available. I think it's going to be whatever he thinks that this team needs. It's what's going to come down to. I think it's going to be 3 big ones.
Did you by chance check the Google search for the history?
Yes, I did. 2019 we're talking about, right? The Kevin Hayes
Yes.
2019 Kevin Hayes deadline. Okay. I am looking right here. February 25th was the deadline that year. First trade that went down. Kevin Hayes was traded to the Winnipeg Jets in exchange for Brendan Lemieux, 2019 first-round pick, that's Ville Heinola, a 2022 fourth-round pick, that was Noah Laba, and that was it. Next trade, Nick Patan for Par Lindholm, 1-for-1. Next trade, 7th-round pick for Matt Hendricks. Next trade was Alex Broadhurst to the Columbus Blue Jackets for future considerations.
Yep,
which we've never gotten or never received, so still gone.
No, that was the future considerations was Patrick Laine. Fun fact.
And then we still have a few more. We're not done yet. Okay, Kechlevik or whatever. Kechlevik. He for a 7th-round pick from Florida, and he never played for the Jets that year. And then obviously the most important trade that went down that year, the man, the myth, the legend, for a 6th-round pick from Buffalo, your boy, Nathan Beaulieu.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I forgot
Mr.
God,
Josh
I can't believe
Morrissey's
we acquired Nathan Beaulieu for a 6th-round pick, and then decided to keep him around for like 3 years.
And then we traded him for a conditional 7th.
At least we got something for him.
I can't believe we even got that. No, we didn't get anything, actually.
No, we did. We did get a conditional pick. The condition was met.
Conditional 7th. Conditional 7th, and Pittsburgh had to get to the 3rd round.
And Beaulieu had to play half of the game.
Yeah, and he was hurt. He didn't even play.
That's why
we both lost. We both lost.
Yeah, well, you know what though? They still shed 1.25 off his cap to add, which not terrible.
They did. That was a good move.
The Pittsburgh Rangers series was a no-lose situation.
Okay, can you believe that fucking Andrew Kopp went for a 1st-round pick and Vladimir Tarasenko didn't?
That is unbelievable.
He did.
No, he went for it first.
Yeah, there's a first in there.
Are you sure about that? I thought you. Oh.
No, first Sammy Blais and.
I thought it was a 2nd.
Thing in there.
A 2nd and Sammy Blais, I thought.
Nope. Oh, Jay Lacken live. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, really quick.
Trades. I need to see this trade now.
I just want to bring this up because I feel like I brought this up on pretty much every video I've made for the last, I don't know, last 3 of them. Troy Terry, 25 years old, RFA next year. The Ducks need to pay Trevor Zegras.
Jackson, but we're not getting him.
No, I'm just saying. What do you think about this? Hypothetically,
Troy Terry is my dream. I'll make a bold. I would give up as much to get Troy Terry, knowing he would sign long term as a Timo Meyer. That is a hot take.
Yeah, but he's not going to sign long term in Winnipeg.
No, he's not. But I'm just saying, hypothetically. Listen. Stop for a minute.
He's living at the airport. Like,
sure. RFA. 25 years old. Ducks need to pay Zegras, Drysdale, and McTavish coming up very, very soon. Those are going to be big pieces. Currently, they have Adam Henrique under contract for this season and next season at fairly high, 5.8, I believe. And he's having a fantastic season. I really, really wonder, not only for Troy Terry, if he may be available, if the Ducks don't think they can re-sign him long term. I don't think the Jets are going to trade for him. Not what I'm saying here. But maybe they try to shed cap to keep Troy Terry around. Okay? How does a guy like Adam Henrique fit with the Winnipeg Jets?
For 2 years?
I
don't hate that.
I think if you can 25 off that,
Absolutely.
and you can bring in, maybe make it a 3-way deal, I don't know. Who knows? The Ducks, but what I'm saying here is, it's intriguing. He's having a fantastic season.
Holy
no one's
shit,
talking about
no
Adam
way,
Henrique right now.
19
He's for the
goals?
Ducks.
What the hell? That's what he had
what I'm
last
saying.
year in 58 games. He's got 51 games under his belt this year in 19. Holy crap, man.
He's having a fantastic year, and he looks incredible for a guy that's playing on the Anaheim Ducks.
And he's
Very
33
few guys look
years
good on
old,
that
man.
team.
He's still putting up good
And he's
numbers
33.
like that.
Put
Yeah.
him in the middle on the third line. That's a pretty gnarly
Okay, you know
top
what?
4.
I could see that, but his contract's not even bad at all. Like even a quarter, like you said, 25% off of that. That's a really nice deal. I would take that. He's been making less than Adam Lowry.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's super affordable.
Like,
Too.
I just don't know if that they would trade him. I know, cause like think about it, like, okay, I know they're terrible, but like, aren't they trying to like keep him around for some reason? I haven't seen his name anywhere. Has he been linked to stuff?
Hey,
Or is
I
he-
don't know. I'm
just wondering.
throwing
I'm just
stuff
wondering
out
too.
there.
Like if there's actually like I could see this happening, but at the same time, it's like I feel like I don't know what their long term plan is. I've got no information on where they are, so I'm just wondering.
Full transparency, absolutely zero sources on this. I'm just throwing this out there. If guys like Domi, if maybe Taves wants to stay in Chicago for another year, if those kind of guys come off the market, teams are going to look elsewhere. And the first places they're going to look are at the teams that are total hot garbage.
Mm.
So if the Jets are like, hey, or any team in the league is like, hey, you know what? See what you got here in Adam Henrique having a very good year. What do you think about this? And the Ducks say, hey, we could use that cap space going forward. Here you go. And that's just what I'm saying.
I could see, but that would be an interesting one. I'd love to see if that develops into anything, because Adam Henrique would be a very, very, very interesting name on the trade deadline, because that's a really underrated numbers. Those are like some very, very good numbers. He would be one of the premier guys to go for third liners that would be available. His name would jump right to the top of the list if that was the case. But no, I would be totally up for that. What about Nick Ritchie? How do you guys feel about that? I'll keep this one quick. I'm okay with it if for some reason teams, a couple big guys come out there and they come out swinging and they're like, here's a second round pick, conditional first for Max Domi. Whoa, okay, that's bad. But if someone's doing that because they're insane, and he's off the board, a couple other guys go off the board because of the market being set that high, go for Nick Ritchie. Arizona's looking to get anything right now, and I asked AZ Sports Guy what he thought. He said at max a second, but most likely a third. Would be what the asking price would
he
be.
said with his chest a second, and I love you, AZ.
No. I don't believe. I don't
think
buy
so.
that. I think he's saying that as the fan, but deep down, I believe. I believe a third makes the most sense for him. He's only got like 6 goals, I believe. He does not have a lot of goals. I'm gonna pull up his
9
exact.
goals.
Is it 9? I knew it was under 10.
9 goals, 21 points last time I saw.
Yes, you're correct. Yep, 12 assists in there. Yeah, that's not a terrible year, but again, that's like Josh Morrissey numbers. And I mean, not Josh Morrissey, excuse me. I meant Adam Lowry. I cannot believe I just said Josh Morrissey. He's a fucking 21-point guy in Norris season. Jesus, I should have walked off the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize.
If you want to bring Nick Ritchie in to be a fourth liner, I don't care. Do it. He's far better than the 2 plugs you got on the fourth line currently.
I guess, but I don't know. I feel like they should focus on other areas. You know, like the fourth line is not as important.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. I don't really care who you play with Adam Lowry. If it's Morgan Barron and dude, I don't care. You just make that shutdown line. I don't care. Do whatever you want. But you have to take care of the top 9 first.
But you've got me open to this idea of trading for a third line center and then bumping down Lowry, kind of like what we did the year when we went to the Western Conference Final with Little taking that third line spot with the Stastny acquisition and Lowry bumping down to fourth. That was the best center core we've ever had.
Absolutely.
And I would be totally okay with that. And I think that the fourth line could really balance out well, especially, another guy, Nick Bjugstad, talking about Arizona, very cheap. It's looking like he could go for, again, maybe even a third or a fourth. I would love to get him down there for the fourth line if that was the asking price. Maybe get Ritchie and Bjugstad in like a third and a third and a fourth or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm undervaluing him there, but I think that would be fair for where these guys are at in their career. But again, I think that would be a really good, depth move for the Jets if that's the route they go.
So, like, we talked a lot about like some prospects we might have to give up. We've talked about guys that we want. Just for the one other area of here, what guys that have played on the active roster this year do you see the Jets shipping off? We mentioned Stanley. Harkin's name has come up. Is anyone else do we see as, so to speak, cannon fodder? And how much do we think Harkins is gonna, like, how much do we...
I don't think Harkins gets moved only because he's went through waivers twice now and no one's claimed him.
Yeah.
And people have been actually claiming guys off waivers this year at a pretty high rate compared to years past. So I feel like if there was anyone that would have wanted Harkins, he probably would have went by now.
The only way I see Harkins really going is if he's just like a throw-in, just to say, hey, like, do we need the guy to change the scenery, or if it's like, if there was another Jansen Harkins out there, I don't know who, no one specific, but if they just want to swap him, because like I don't know, sure. Just to do it kind of thing. Very low-end trade.
Is because he's decent in the AHL, and Winnipeg Jets have a bit of pride based on their AHL team being as their NHL team. And that there is a pride there. It's not a lot, but like the organization that runs the Winnipeg Jets does make the same playoff revenue, like makes playoff revenue off
exactly.
the
NHL. And they without a doubt make trades at the NHL trade deadline that are trying to benefit. It's the AHL trade deadline as well. They're trying to push the team further, without a doubt.
That's what a lot of their off.
They're having, when you look through moves, Jackson, through this team's history, you can't tell me that there haven't been moves where you're like, they're definitely doing that for AHL.
They do.
It's just funny.
That's what kills me.
About this.
They're
so
like,
much.
hey, we gotta get the Moose to the second round this year, guys. We gotta get that playoff revenue.
Limoges? Anybody?
Dude,
sign that man who set the record for AHL goals for the San Diego.
Didn't that Noje trade go down like 5 minutes? Like, it came out after the deadline. It was like a last-minute thing out of nowhere.
It was printed like 2 minutes before the deadline had ended and came out 8 minutes after the deadline had concluded.
Yeah.
We were all... I remember this, Jake, because you and I were sitting there, done our fucking videos, and all of a sudden I'm like, Jake, I gotta go. Comes back, why the fuck did you make a video about Nelson Noje? And I'm like, because we moved on from him. We don't give a shit anymore.
Oh, man. And then I hopped on to the exact same thing.
Yeah. And then we don't tender an offer to the guy we trade him for.
That's how it goes, man. That's the Jets move right there.
That was our big rental. Last year.
The Zach Sanford.
Besides Zach Sanford.
Zach Sanford.
Hey, there's another guy. Bring some grit. Bring some grit to the bottom six.
Oh, yeah. Didn't we have a chance to
That's
get
a
him?
joke.
He was on waivers at the start of the year. We had a chance to claim him.
Who?
Yeah.
Zach Sanford. He went on waivers.
Yeah, no, he's playing in the AHL right now.
Yep.
Like I stat totals for all the former
That's
Jets.
so, that makes me so sad. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about trade deadline. Not every trade will work out. Zach Sanford's a prime example of that. You traded a 5th-round pick for this man last year. Didn't even score a goal for you, 1 point, and now he's in the AHL the year after. So that was the.
Do you remember his one game that they were like, "Oh yeah, he looks great," and like purely
I was at that game.
Yeah, we call him the Sandman, and then he did
Nothing. Nothing.
Oh.
I thought that when
Kevin
they said that, I was like,
Sawyer
oh, maybe this is gonna work out. Maybe the Jets are like, they're not gonna go on a run, but like maybe they're gonna get some interesting play to end the season off. Nothing. Not even a goal.
Sorry, really quick, Zach, because I don't think I really answered your question. Like, we brought up the obvious punching bags here, the Logan Stanleys, the Jansen Harkins, but one guy that I really do think has a decent shot at moving if there is an opportunity where the Jets need a little bit more cap space is Mason Appleton. Strictly because he makes money and he hasn't been in the lineup all year. And, Apples is fine, but there are about 100 other Mason Appletons in the league, unfortunately. And unlike other players like Tumu Meyer, apples do grow on trees. Oh.
You gotta walk off after that. That's a mic drop.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy.
Imagine how Mason Appleton's like I'd feel bad for the guy almost though too.
He has no identity or part of this team at all. He played how many games? Like what, 5 or something like that?
Remember he had his best game.
Not even.
He had his best. I was at that game where
Mason Appleton played 14 games this season, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, he did 14 games.
Did he really?
He had 6 points in 14 games, and he had that 3-point night that was an incredible game for him, honestly. That was a great game.
That's fair.
Game. And then he got immediately fucking injured. And it's hilarious, too, because when he's giving the belt to somebody, he's giving it or giving the jacket to somebody, he's giving it while in a suit and tie. Like, he looks so upset. Like, that's happened a bunch of times where they'll be like, oh, yeah, here you go. It's like, Janssen Fjallby giving up the jacket for player of the game, handing it to somebody, and it's like, oh yeah, you did so good, you're not even playing tonight, motherfucker.
That's the way it goes for the Jets locker room, but I don't even know. Appleton could get traded, I feel like we're not talking about that enough. Like, he really, like, I know, like, Appleton's not bad, but, like...
He's off on the packing order. Like really far. Like, our pickups having such success to the point, like, we sit here, like, Sam Gagner is he's an acceptable player. Axel Janssen Fjallby is an acceptable player.
Nah, I'd say Sam Gagner's been better than acceptable. He's been pretty good. Like, Sam Gagner is like earned a spot on that 4th line, in my opinion, going forward.
Players, and those would, like, at minimum be that. But, like, Mason Appleton, like, also too, like, let's not forget, Morgan Barron has, like, stepped over Apples on the pecking order. I absolutely adore, which is great that we're investing.
Rick Bonus.
buddy, Rick, let him cook. Let Bones cook, honestly.
What I'm saying is, if you go into the deadline and you say, hey, I wanna make that top 9 as good as it can be, go get a big piece, bump somebody down, and you add another piece in there, and your 4th line looks like Adam Lowry, Morgan Barron, and Sam Gagner. That's a pretty damn good 4th line.
Really good
if
4th line.
Carson Kuhlman anywhere near a Jets jersey, I'm gonna be angry at the end of the trade deadline. Like, if Carson Kuhlman.
No offense, Carson Kuhlman, you've been great, but get the fuck out.
Yep.
Carson Kuhlman, I appreciate your name will be still etched on the cup if we fucking win it.
He might even get a couple games in the playoffs. You never know.
Well, maybe like a Dominic Toninato, where you get like 1 game winner out of your ass and then don't do anything.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. What a performance.
The game, yeah. Remember, like, our first game against Edmonton? Our goal scorers that actually scored on a goalie were Tucker Poolman and Dominic Toninato, and our 2 guys scored on an empty net was Kyle Connor and Blake Wheeler, the empty net merchants themselves.
That's ugly. That's not even that long ago. That's less than 3 years ago, and it makes my skin crawl. But okay, we talked about this like literally right before we hit record, and I got really pissed off thinking about it. I was at work, didn't even think about it today, and I saw this stupid little dumb report from all you weird little Frenchmen out there in Montreal, that you think that Josh Anderson, with that goofy contract, regressing Mark Stone body, you think that that's going to be a trade piece to the Winnipeg Jets for Pierre-Luc
The
Dubois? And you think that's going to get
centerpiece,
it done?
not just a trade piece. The
Centerpiece. Centerpiece. Yes. Yes.
Center.
So, okay.
He's
You
a
think
Syrian.
you think Josh Anderson, the little goofball that's always on IR, you think that Josh Anderson, a second and like you're some dude from Laval, is gonna get that done? Look, we say a lot here, okay? We make a lot of hot takes, and half this podcast is gonna age like milk. It's gonna be horrific looking back at this in a month. But
That's why
that
they love
is
it.
an outrageous take. You guys over there in Quebec, you guys yap all this stuff all the time. You're gonna get Pierre-Luc Dubois, but if you're telling me that Kirby Doc is an untouchable, I saw a lot of that today. That the Jets have no business coming near Kirby Doc. If you don't think a player like that is gonna go the other way in a Pierre-Luc Dubois deal, you are out of your mind.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So sorry, I saw that today, and if Habs fans are gonna just, I don't know, just talk about whatever they want, then I don't know. I am too. Give me Cole Caulfield. I don't know. It's not gonna happen. But like,
No.
neither is Josh Anderson being the centerpiece.
Kirby Doc
Nick
is the guy
Suzuki.
piece that I think the Jets would get in return. Like with trade picks, obviously, and a prospect.
Sorry. Totally off topic now. Now you got me thinking of Nick Suzuki. Nick Suzuki won that stupid golf tournament,
know.
won Chipotle for a year, and now he doesn't get to have it because there's no Chipotle in Montreal. That is hilarious.
Yeah. Also, Nick Suzuki being good at a golf tournament does not surprise me. Like,
yeah, missing the
No.
playoffs last couple of years.
like
You got his C at a golf tournament.
Robertson, the guy who's actually been played in the playoffs recently, is going to be good. No, he doesn't have practice. Nick Suzuki has practice.
Yeah, I don't know. Nick Suzuki strikes me as a frisbee golfer. I don't know why, but I just
Wii
get that
Sports
vibe from
Frisbee
him.
Golf, man. Wii Sports
Yes,
Frisbee
yes,
Golf.
he's. Oh my god, like that. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but you nailed it.
Oh man. Well, honestly, guys, like, I don't know what else to talk about with the deadline. I feel like I've thought that's everything that I feel like going into it, Jets perspective wise, and what they're going to be looking at, what they're going to need. Lots obviously will be going down. It's going to be a very busy trade deadline for all of the other 31 teams in this league. That is a fact. Might be the busiest one we've seen in a while. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, any closing thoughts on this topic going to the deadline? We got a couple weeks still, but we'll be talking about it some more. But right now, how are we feeling?
I will say this: how early do we think the dominoes are going to start falling?
Early. I think like
Because
6
Really
a.m.
early.
Maybe even earlier.
And
We gotta upload this ASAP before something else happens. Because I really do think by the end of next week, I think the Jets make a move.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I think the Jets make a move. I wouldn't be surprised by probably next Saturday, like a week from now even. Like it's Thursday night right now. I wouldn't be surprised if like next Friday we're seeing some real big information coming out about a trade happening. Wouldn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Time to buy. Time to go all in.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. But yeah, Zach, anything else you want to add?
Nah,
I
feel everything.
I think so too. So let us know what you down in the comment section below, what your thoughts are about the trade deadline and all of the stuff with the Winnipeg Jets heading into it. We really do like reading your guys' comments as always, so we do appreciate that. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to check out all of our individual channels and all the other affiliated links down in the description below as always. Turn on notifications if you haven't already. Stay tuned for another episode very, very soon. We hope. We never know with this. We'll see what happens. Thanks for watching as always. Peace, love, and positivity. Go Jets, go! And we'll see you guys in the next one.